Former NBA star Gilbert Arenas was known as Agent Zero during his pro basketball career, but if tonight, three-time All-Star, he's being called a federal defendant, charged with running an illegal gambling ring and high-stakes poker games out of his mansion home in Encino, California. Federal investigators say Arenas was one of a group of defendants involved in the operation. They include 49-year-old Yevgeny Gershman, a suspected high-level member of an Israeli transnational organized crime group. The indictment says Gershman hired young women who served drinks and offered companionship to the players during the games. They allegedly worked for tips, but had to pay the ring operators a portion of what they made.
Gilbert Arenas, NBA guard, played for 11 years. Three-time NBA All-Star, three-time NBA All-Team. Most notably known for the Washington Wizards, nicknamed Agent Zero.
Portion of what they made. Now, as for Arenas, this isn't the first time he's been in trouble linked to card games. You might remember that the 11-year NBA veteran was suspended from the Washington Wizards in December 2009 after he brought guns into the Wizards' locker room. League officials says it was over an argument about gambling debts. So for more, you know who we're going to be bringing in. Jennifer Coffindaffer, News Nation law and justice contributor and former FBI agent. Thank you so much for coming on. Got to start with the Arenas here. So serious charges, allegedly hosting some illegal poker games at his home. Complex investigation. What stands out to you?
Complex, and I think the whole reason they are going after this operation is that connectivity you just talked about. You know, typically the FBI is not going to get involved in gambling unless it involves this type of an organization. Remember, Jesse, it seems like it's just gambling until you can't pay your debt. And then people get strong-armed, and this connection to this organization is problematic.
You're talking about the text messages, right? The alleged text messages about the schedules, the financial matters, recruiting dealers and women. Does it ever surprise you? I mean, if those allegations are true, the digital trail, just nobody realizes that?
I don't know if it's they don't realize it. I just think they truly think of themselves as above the law. They're not going to get caught. They're going to get out of it. And so they continue operations as usual, not worried.
Look, it's serious because if convicted, he and the other defendants face 5 years in federal prison for each count. But the federal officials, they allegedly raided his home in July of last year during a game. Would that have been tipped off? Were they tipped off by maybe somebody who was upset about a game?
Well, my guess is they probably had an informant. Typically in these operations, you have informants that initially come to you for whatever reason. They have not been happy with that group. And that's typically how a lot of these cases start. It
sounds like there was some serious big money with this alleged operation because Arenas allegedly rented out his home to be used for the games. I mean, what are we talking about here?
Oh, I bet you they handled probably up to millions of dollars. Look, Jesse, the Bureau isn't going to get involved. We have certain threshold minimums, and you're not going to get involved unless it's a big, big game over a lot of time.
Once again, Gilbert Arenas, NBA guard, played for 11 years, three-time NBA All-Star, three-time All-NBA First Team. Most notably known for playing with the Washington Wizards, nicknamed Agent Zero. Went to Arizona University, but here are some NBA highlight reel. Check it out.
Arenas has been charged with allegedly running a high-end illegal gambling business out of a Los Angeles mansion where high-stakes poker games are played. Now, Arenas and a half dozen others are scheduled to be arraigned on several charges in Los Angeles. And ABC News' Alex Stone has more for us. Alex?
Kana, yeah, Gilbert Arenas is a big name, former NBA star, played on the Warriors, Wizards, the Magic, a number of different teams. And these charges coming as a surprise. He's been in the news recently because his son, who is a star USC recruit, was in a Tesla truck crash and was injured in that. So their name has been around. Gilbert Arenas does a number of podcasts and other things now. So he's quite well known even after his NBA time. But what federal prosecutors are alleging is that he has been running this high-level illegal poker operation out of a home in the Encino area of LA, and not just having a couple of buddies come by and play poker, but that this was a very well-planned out, well-organized operation with 5 other co-conspirators involved in this, including a member of an Israeli transnational crime group, according to federal prosecutors. But they say that this was something where they had hired women who would help out in the operation and give what they call companionship to those who were playing in the game, that they had armed security guards, that they had chefs that were hired for all of these, and that a lot of money was involved. They had security guards to make sure the wrong people weren't getting into all of this. They had a rake, a fee, the house charges. So they say this was well organized. All were arrested today. A number of agencies involved. Arenas was arrested today as well, facing charges that, if convicted, everybody involved could get 5 years in federal prison. Kana?
Wow, quite the discovery there, Alex Stoner. Thanks to you.
40, 50, 60 points. Gilbert Arenas was dropping major buckets on the best NBA players in his prime. Gil was a nightmare for opposing guards, but also for his teammates, as he is known to be one of the biggest pranksters in NBA history. Here's the rise and fall of Gilbert Arenas, also known as Agent Zero or Hibachi. Growing pains. Gilbert's mother went to jail when he was only 2 years old, and his father was taking care of him ever since. Arenas' dad was an actor, and he and little Gilbert were often living out of an old Toyota, while Arenas Sr. was in between acting jobs. Gilbert picked up basketball at the age of 6, and at the age of 11, he was already a known name on the local playgrounds. When he got to high school, it was clear that he was very talented, but Arenas was goofing around and didn't take it seriously enough. One day, his coach pulled him aside and threatened Gil that he was either to get serious or warm the bench. From that moment on, Gilbert would get up at 6 a.m. and train before everyone else. He started practicing for 6 hours a day, and slowly but surely, he blossomed into one of the best players in the state. With sophisticated moves, he was unstoppable one-on-one, equally deadly getting to the basket and shooting from the outside. He hoped to get a scholarship from UCLA, but he got overlooked by the Bruins, as well as many other major universities, mainly because he was too skinny. Gil eventually joined the Arizona Wildcats, choosing to wear the number 0 because that was the amount of minutes the scouts predicted he would play in his freshman year, and he was determined to prove them wrong. A wild Wildcat. In his debut for the Wildcats, Arenas delighted everyone. His play and movement on the floor were like poetry in motion, and he immediately became a fan favorite. In addition to being the best player on the team that featured future NBA players Richard Jefferson and Luke Walton, Gil was also the biggest clown on the team, always ready to pull a prank on anybody. There are plenty of stories about Gilbert's mischievous nature, but let's just mention the one time when he drove around campus with windows down, with sounds of adult movies blasting through the speakers. Volume was on the max, obviously. When he wasn't partying and messing around, he averaged 15.4 points per game as a freshman, but the Wildcats lost in the second round of the NCAA tournament. Next season, mainly because of Arenas' stellar play, the Wildcats reached the NCAA Finals. In the semifinals against Michigan State, Arenas suffered a pec injury in that game after a hit from Zach Randolph, which was felt very much in the final against Duke. Although he could barely shoot, it never occurred to him to miss the grand finale. Yes, he was bad in the finals, shooting 4 for 17, and probably the main reason their team lost. But Arenas showed how much heart he has, and that he'll give his best to prove the doubters wrong. Getting drafted. On the day of the draft, convinced of the high position, the Arenas family threw a big party. When Gilbert's name wasn't called even after the 20th pick, They panicked. The biggest reason his draft stock dropped so low in a bad draft class was his terrible behavior at the NBA Draft Combine. When Arenas was asked what was his main goal in the NBA, he simply answered that he wants to be a pimp. An NBA team representative gave him another chance to answer the same question. A very mature Arenas decided to clarify his answer further. I want to be an international pimp. But even that was not enough for him. On the 20-minute endurance test, he didn't want to damage his new sneakers, so he abruptly stopped after 3 minutes. Arenas eventually ended up as the 31st pick for the Golden State Warriors, and he again wore the number 0. Gilbert finished his rookie season ranking 4th in scoring and 3rd in assists and steals in limited minutes. With the arrival of a new coach, Arenas became the primary ball handler for the Warriors. During the summer, he trained like a maniac and watched hours of tape on the best NBA point guards, trying to grasp as much finesse as possible. All that prepared him to become the leader of the team in his second season. He made the leap from that skinny kid that scouts looked over into the biggest rising star in the NBA. With 18 points and 6 assists on average, he received the award for the most improved player. Although the Warriors had a better season, they still didn't make the playoffs, which infuriated Arenas. Even though he was a fan favorite and liked to be in Oakland, he got the $65 million 6-year contract offer from the Wizards. In typical Gilbert fashion, when he was supposed to pick his future team, he tossed a coin to make a choice. Literally, nothing else guided one of the biggest decisions of his life. The coin chose the Wizards, and the era of Agent Zero in Washington began. All-Star years. With the Wizards, Arenas showed all the splendor of his talent. He scored in bunches and notched triple-doubles, made game winners. He mastered the pick-and-roll game, and even Kwame Brown looked good playing next to him. With his size, speed, and ball-handling ability, he could drive to the paint with ease. But what made Arenas stand out was his ability to shoot the ball, which made him a big enigma for all the NBA defenders. Arenas was also a willing passer, and he had no holes in his game. Because of that, he was extremely unpredictable, and as a defender, you had to pick your poison with him.
As you can see, Gilbert Arenas is out, and he made a prior audio statement that he will be snitching. Catch it later in this part.
Hello. Yeah, baby, I'm on them. I'm out. Yep. Hey, they took my passport. Hey, like damn, my passport? That's crazy, because I got another one, but you gotta have two. That was it. Yeah, I think I'm dumb. Woo, man, I'm just trying to tell you, don't get arrested and you gotta use the restroom, man. I'm just trying to tell you, they don't treat you right. Nah, but everybody was in there nice. Like, what was crazy is the nigga who arrested me, I played the nigga in basketball. he went to high school, I played him in high school, man. Oh, hey, what's up, G8? Hey, nothing, man. How you doing, Fred? So you still get in trouble? Yeah, you know what it is.
Wizards player is accused of renting out his Encino mansion on Gable Drive for the illegal games, which were allegedly hosted by his co-conspirators. According to court documents, Arenas texted one of his co-conspirators this picture of a poker table in connection to the games, which allegedly took place from September 2021 to July 2022.
To say you got one, is that going to fulfill you? Is that going to change how you view yourself? Because, we all want to be on top when we win one, right? Especially if he was, one of those dudes. So him sitting on the end of a bench, being a backup, right? Not really that guy winning it. Does it say, like, is he going to cherish this as a champ, right? It's just, that's internal. Because I talk to someone like, I'd rather give this ring back just to play one more year.
Yeah, I dig it.
So, you know what I mean? So it all depends on who you are as a player. How hard it is if you got drafted in the middle of the decade. So, you're sitting here at 04, 05. You can basically be a great Hall of Fame player, but not be on the decade team. Because most people who are first team all decades are coming from the decade before. Hey, what's wrong with you, man? Michael Beasley, man. Tell Nick I said boo.
Y'all just look good on camera.
Michael Beasley.
As you can see, Gil Arenas is home.